Jacob, I'll just follow up on DaVon since you line up across the line of scrimmage from him every day for the last couple, 2, 3 years. What do you think makes him good?
I mean, he's as smart as they get. You know, whatever front we're in or kind of play we're calling, he can kind of see if we're cheating anything, you know, coverage-wise, or if we're bringing a blitz on. You kind of see who's in there. You know, D-line, where their hands are. You know, you can kind of see which way they're going to slant, if they are going to move, and that type of stuff. So he's a very intelligent guy, and then also, like you said, he's really quick, and so he can pick up blitzes, and then if there's any like line stunt that we'll have going, you know, he can move across, and they can pick it up really well.
Like when you started the season, you were doing a podcast called That's Five. You told us a little bit of the backstory. Do y'all still run that?
No.
No.
We gave up on it. It was fun while it lasted, but like it took too much of our time, and I think you know, we have more of a we need to have more of an investment in football, and so that's kind of where it went to. Was, you know, it was cool for the spring and for the summer, but it wasn't something that we could do during the season.
Faith was a huge center point of that podcast, though. How have y'all continued to, I guess, follow through with that relationship that you have with those guys that were on there? Was very tight-knit, not just from the long-standing time you've been together, but the way you've watched each other grow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Faith is the biggest part of it. I think, you know, we spend so much time together. I mean, we don't do the podcast anymore, but we still spend just as much, if not more, time together doing other things, and, you know, just being up here at the facility all the time. And so, I mean, that's kind of everything. We got to eat together. You know, we're here at the cache eating together. We're here, you know, watching film together, lifting together. Everything we do is with each other. And so, you know, it makes it nice when we can be able to push each other in every aspect of our life, whether that's, you know, mental, physical, spiritual. It's just nice to have those guys around.
And then Bryce, when we had the opportunity to talk to him during the injury, he was very just down, it seemed like. But this past time we got to talk to him, I mean, it was all smiles. It was just a completely different person. Can you kind of talk about the mental that he's gone through throughout his career, but also just the way you guys have supported him?
Yeah, I mean, Bryce works as hard as anybody you'll ever see. I mean, kind of the things that he's gone through in his journey to get here, and then, you know, his time here and what it's looked like injury-wise and you know, everything else. You know, he's been through a lot, and so it's nice that he can, you know, lean on us when he needs to and know that we'll be right there for him. But, I mean, he's as tough as it gets, and I have no doubt that he would easily get through it, you know, by himself, but it's nice that we can be there for him to be able to push him along too.
Jake, we don't know if Levitt's going to be healthy enough to play this game, but if he does play, it's the first time you guys are playing a quarterback you've actually played against before this season. What do you remember from his skill set from a year ago, and why were you guys so successful against him?
I mean, his skill set is, I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, I still believe. I mean, you know, didn't get to play against Utah, but, you know, I think it would have been a completely different game if he had. He is a dynamic playmaker, you know, running the ball, throwing the ball. It seems like on film, you know, he's always getting his guys into the right play, you know, whether it be checking to a run or, you know, a little RPO or something. He's always, you know, putting them in the best position. But, I mean, for what I remember a year ago, he's, you know, a fierce competitor. You know, he's somebody who, you know, wants the ball in his hands, and, you know, he makes things happen when he has it in his hands. And so it was a really tough game, and I remember it being pretty close. And now I'm just excited to, you know, see how it happens again this year.
It's hard to imagine you guys getting to the quarterback is faster than you guys have so far this season. But with Tyson lining up on the other side and probably the best wide receiver, I mean, I know there's not extra emphasis, but does that clock go a little bit faster for you, knowing you guys need to help the secondary out a little bit more?
I mean, it's just nice when you have pass rushers who get to the ball like we do, and kind of the scheme that we run, and, you know, getting people into, you know, third and pass situations, it really helps. You know, if you know they're going to pass the ball, you can have a pretty good jump on being able to go rush the passer. So it makes it easier on us too in the back end because we don't have to cover as long, you know. And so that was the thing last year is, you know, I think we have the same amount of sacks this year that we did at the end of last year, and we're halfway through the season. And so, I mean, that directly correlates to, you know, our pass coverage. And we weren't very, very good in any statistic in that category last year, and so it's something that we've definitely improved on. But it's because, all 11 guys tie into each other. And so having a pass rush like that, we don't have to cover as long. We can take guys out of the play sometimes. And so, sometimes if he's at his first read, he can't really get to his second or third or fourth, because people are in his face. And so everything just kind of ties together. And so, yeah, they have, no doubt first-round player playing outside receiver for him, and he's extremely dynamic. But, it's a team game, and I have no doubt that our guys are going to go to work, and try to do their best they can for this game, but knowing that they're going to be able to make plays because of how good they are.
Jacob, trying to kind of feed into that pass rush this past week's game, you guys had so much success there. How much fun was it just to be a part of that? You got in on a sack as well. Just when everything's flowing that well, what does it feel like on the field as a group?
It's a lot of fun. We broke our school record, so it's definitely something we've never done before. And it was a great feeling. I hope that we can, do it again. But I think it helped so much with the environment of, everybody in the stands being there and being loud. That plays a huge factor when, opposing teams on the road here, and our fans are going as crazy and they're being as loud as they are every snap. It really helps us on the defense side. And so, whether those be, our guys just making plays or, an assignment bust on their part, it definitely has to do with, miscommunication because it's being so loud out there, and all that noise really helps us out.
Well, then you're touching on that noise there. In some ways, then, how do you carry over a great energetic performance like that into a road trip? You've obviously played in a couple road games already this season, but how do you guys as a group carry that energy into a game where maybe sometimes you have to create your own energy?
Yeah, I think we go through it a lot. Like every away game, we kind of go through 5 different keys to be able to win on the road. And so one thing is, tight huddles. And so that's something we talk about a lot is, we're going to have to bring our own energy, and, we're all we have. And, everybody on the road is going to be going against us. And so, if we can just create tight huddles, hold each other accountable for everything that we do on the field, then we have a chance. And so I think that's the whole thing is just you have the opportunity to be able to go out and win a game is if you do your job. And if you can do your job when you have people around you that can do their job as well.
And then Coach McGuire, this coaching staff, a lot of the players have preached the process and not getting caught up into the game and what's happening during the week. But you guys have already beaten Utah, who is up in the standings. This is a game against another team that's expected to be up in the standings. You got BYU later, obviously. Do you guys think about these types of games and the separation that it can give you guys in the conference standings at all?
Not really. I don't think it's anything we've talked about. At the beginning of the year, we set our goal to be the Big 12 championship. And then once we set that, that's just kind of where it was. And so then it went to, every week, it's its own game. And so you have to take it just as serious as you would any game that you'd ever play. And so, that goes for weeks past. We didn't make it anything about anything but the football. And so I think if we continue to do that and, take this game one game at a time and just worry about the football, I think that we have an opportunity to win. If we don't, then, we do have the opportunity to lose, and everybody completely believes that. And so we just take it one game at a time, but I think more importantly it's, one practice at a time, one rep at a time. And, we get to go out there and have practice today, and it's kind of one of those things where instead of having to, you get to. And so we get to go out there and have practice today, and we get to, work on, what we love, which is playing football, and there's not much else you can ask for.
You're pretty mellow. I'm guessing there's a lot of talk about not getting too high on where you guys are at right now. Have you had to have the same conversation with your wife about not letting this stardom get to her head?
No, she's famous. I love it. She's not the biggest fan of it. She's definitely, loves her people, but she's just not used to it. But it's an interesting dynamic for sure. We'll go the past game we just played. She told me about stories where she's in the stands and people are coming up to her asking her for pictures. She's like, well, no, he'll be out in a little bit. No, I want a picture with you. Can we get a picture? And so she's trying to get used to that. But she loves it, and she's having a great time.
Yesterday, Coach talked about Barron not needing reps in practice, but then he referenced the fact that you would prefer to go that route after, whatever your issue was with your calf the previous game. Is that just you were just testing things out, or you just wanted you need those reps with your guys?
I think it's just a different dynamic week to week. I know when we played Kansas, it was they're just going to give you so many different pictures, and it's going to make it really hard for you to see. And so I definitely wanted to be on the field to, get every rep that I could, to, have reps banked to where I could fall back and say, like I've done this before and I've seen it. And that's kind of just what practice is about, is being able to see things over and over. I know quarterback's a little bit different a position. But on the defensive side of the ball, you have to have every single one of your play calls lined up for every single one of theirs, not just, one play call that they can check to. Or that it's just a different game, and I think, I'd love to think that I couldn't practice and then go out and play, well, but I think we talk about it all the time, everything that you do in practice you'll do in the game. And so I really wanted to be out there for everybody to, talk and communicate and just make it a point that, we're halfway through the season. I know guys are banged and bruised up, but, you got to be out there practicing and communicating and getting every rep that you can.